Vanakkam, Chennai. Namaskaram. So this is not my first time when I've been participating in this ICT event. We have been associated with ICT for a quite long time, and we have been presenting and making a meaningful association with ICT, and the ICT facilitated all the universities on that. So as Sunil said, we are very, very purpose-driven organization, and we are today here to talk about it, what as a Nemetschek group can help in terms of skill development, how we can make our India more employable. That's the purpose today that we are going to talk. Now, to this whole audience, I'm just going to ask one question. Whichever colleges that you are representing, how many of you has architect as a subject? Can you raise your hand, please? Those colleges whose has an architectural as a part of the curriculum, great. Some of you raise your hand. And then how many of you are also having civil engineering as a part of your curriculum? Wow, many hands raised. Okay, great. So there will be something for all of you. Why I'm asked this? Because we are the one company which is making an innovation for the architects and for the engineers, and then we just go actually for the construction. The reason why I'm asking this question, because what I've seen for the last couple of years, that the mainstream engineering students, whether be it a mechanical, civil, architectural, once they pass out, they opt first is to an IT industry. What that needs to be, because we need a good qualified engineers as an architect doing an architectural job, a civil engineers do a civil engineering job, a mechanical engineers doing a mechanical engineering job. So the reason for this is the gap between the industry's requirement or the industry's demand and the kind of course that our students are learning from the colleges. That's the gap. And how, as a technology company, we can reduce this gap. And this is where our initiative towards the education institutes. So before I go into that, let me have a very quickly run through with what Nemetschek's visions and missions are. We as a technology company, we never worked for addressing ourselves to be a software vendor. We always say that we need to be a technology partner. And that's how we are working not only into India, but throughout the global itself. And as my senior colleague Sunil has already mentioned, the connection between the engineering institutes or in educations with Nemetschek is very strongly bound, because our founder itself is a professor. He's a professor in architect. He founded company, and within our organization DNA is there that where we contribute towards to the education institutes or towards the employability aspect on that. This is where our company stands, and that's the uniquely defined ourselves in this. So what we are doing, we are a 60 years old company, 7 million user base, 4,000 employees around the world. So sizable company, which is now in India to join with all the commercial as well as education institutes to make sure that we are taking part the growth journey of the India's progress. We are all happy about, like this, India is the third largest construction market. We are probably going to be the third largest economy in maybe a few years' time from now. How we can contribute? And that's the questions that we ask ourselves. And that is why we are associating with many universities, many colleges, and making those impacts there so that the employability aspect of the engineering students becoming much more efficient. And then we then contribute to this commercial other projects too. So what we are doing in that solution space, if you can see that we are the organization so which is defining into categories or the buckets where the planning and design, when somebody has raised your hand about architectural and the civil, that falls under here on the planning and design. And this second one, which is the build division, because once you do engineering, then it goes on building and assets. And that how the building that asset, how it is being built, it's also come to the build division. Then the operate and manage. Operate and manage is very important. The reason is you have built assets, an organization can build an assets, but how that assets has been then properly managed So we have a solution whereby optimizing that asset management. And then Sunil has talked about the digital twin, because in our India, there will be many, many assets which might have been built 30 years, 40 years, 50 years back. Do we have all the drawings for that assets? Do we have the 3D model of that assets? Probably answer is no. So how we can leverage into that, how we can help. So that's how our digital twin solution comes into a play. So 4 trends in the engineering space that we feel that it is now very, very important. Which are those 4 trends? Sunil has talked about it, about the AI aspect. Interoperability is another one. Then the digital twin, we are all talking about. And the last one is the sustainability. All of you probably will agree that today in India, the green building has created a big, big revolution. And the sustainability and the green aspect has to be combined when any engineering projects or any construction projects is to be built. Now, the students community also needs to learn how I am going to involve into the projects when I'm coming out of the college and working for a company, how I can use my knowledge to make my projects much more sustainable. And that's where Nemetschek comes as an open BIM solution. We are the one which is supporting the open BIM. What's the simple terms in the open BIMs means that irrespective of whatever the technology a commercial company might be using, whether it is for architectural or for engineering or for construction, it doesn't matter. If they wanted to start with an Nemetschek solution, it can automatically take the data point from there. So it is against the monopolistic approach of any software innovator. We are going into that directions to make sure that we become a platform neutral, and we are giving a choice to our customer that you decide what technology you wanted to use and what purpose you wanted to use. The 2 major points comes on the leveraging of the technology and how we can be much more responsible. When it comes to responsibility, AI also playing a big role. Now we all seen all the AI aspect on the social media, how it has been misused. How can that be stopped when it is coming to an engineering aspect? So that an innovator company like us making a commitment that we are the only company which is an ethical way of the AI approach. This is where the Nemetschek stands. Now, we are also another company which is giving an end-to-end solution. When I asked how many of you has an architecture, many people raise their hand. When I asked about the civil engineering, many of you has raised their hand. Imagine the situation that you get a one technology innovator company who is giving you a technology stack which is starting from an architectural concept stage to an actual construction and execution stage. This is where Nemetschek becomes as a differentiator between any of the competitor companies from that point of view. Now let's talk about those who has been talking about architects. You have a course on the architectural aspect. You will be agreeing that the architectural students needs to learn a couple of things. How the landscape, how the interior designs. These are the very, very important aspects that they need to learn. So we have a solution on the Vectorworks which addressing to that aspect. Then we also have another solution which is called ArchiCAD, which is we are giving it to all the education institutes too, which is taking care of the building design. Imagine the situation in the today's date, there will be a mass housing project and there has to be various different options of the architectural design needs to be there. Gone back those days when an architect design one design and give it to the client. Nowadays, the client doesn't happy with that. They want various options. How an AI can play a role or giving an generative design-based option to an architect. And this is where our ArchiCAD solution comes in. Those of you raised your hands about the structural and civil engineering courses. This is the one we are offering as a RISA, which is all IS code. IS 456, IS 800. So the students, when they're learning in the 3rd year and the 4th year of the civil engineering or the structural engineering, they should be also able to learn how a software can play that, kind of helping on that. Now, we also need to be addressing after the engineering is done, is that the end of it? Is the civil engineering is end there? Probably answer is no, because the civil engineering, after the analysis design is done, they also need to make sure that how the construction is going to be. So when it comes to the bar bending schedules or a BOM extraction from the 3D model, this is where our solutions Alplan is playing a role. Also, many of cases we have seen there is a structural steel projects, mostly the bridge projects or a steel plant projects. There the structural steels are there. Can that be a same solution, different solution, which can give a connection design automatically? So this is what that SDS2 is offering. It is like Solibri, the another one which is for a model checking. So architects doing a different model, structurals doing a different model, MEP engineers are doing a different model. How that can be clubbed together to make sure that there is no error before it actually goes to the construction. And that's where this solution, Solibri, is playing a role of checking the rule-based and role-based and beyond to the class detection. The last piece, which is very, very important, and many of you who are involved with any of those engineering projects or teaching this engineering students, they will be knowing that drawing is a byproduct. We cannot avoid drawing, whether it is a GFC drawing, whether it is a construction drawing, we need that drawing. And for any projects, the students need to learn that how they will be able to manage those drawings. Because for any projects, there will be hundreds of revision. How then automatically with an AI-based engine can help to manage those revisions of the drawing. And that's how the Blue BIM is playing a role. So in a nutshell, we are the one company which is from the starting phase of a architectural to the engineering to the construction, we are addressing that. And importantly, these are the one of few selected big companies who are already using our solution. That means when we talk about this employability, the students come out of your colleges, they can be aimed for these big companies for getting an employment if they are learning a right kind of tools and right kind of a technology. Now, on a commercial aspect, leave aside what we are actually doing for the education segment. So far, we have done 4 MOUs and we have 3 Center of Excellence setups already done in India. We are also 8 authorized training centers throughout India we have done. So this is already ongoing. In just 1 year, we've already covered that. And as Sunil mentioned, that today is the inauguration in Anna University as a Center of Excellence is one of that. So you can look at that. ICT Academy, we have been associated for ICT. We are working with ICT affiliated colleges to make sure that if they wanted to open a Center of Excellence at their universities or their colleges, we'll be able to help them. We have already done in Mumbai, the JJ College of Architect as a Center of Excellence. We have also done in Lucknow University an MOU with them. So we are working into that direction. And most importantly, for all the education fraternity, we all know that AICT is the mother of all, right? And we are now working with the chairman of AICT to working out a frame out of a new course curriculum which can make the students much more knowledgeable in terms of the global technology it is available, and that will help them to become much more employable. So what we are also doing for education institutes is not just giving the software. We are defining a course curriculum based on the commercial's need. We know what is our commercial customers' needs are. So based on that, we defined these kind of course curriculum with a short course and the long course, and that's giving us a kind of a content to all the Center of Excellence colleges there itself. So they will be able to now, after their course is done, their study is done in the lab, they will be able to learn within this within the curriculum on that. So how we are supporting? We are supporting in not only giving the course curriculum, we are also giving the kind of a certification program. So we are the company which is giving an association with the Center of Excellence or wherever we are setting it up on an education institutes or on universities, we are creating these kind of customized codes. I'm repeating again, the customized code. The reason for this is, let's say in Chennai, you have a definitions or you have a course curriculum, and you know that these are my students, they're learning these aspects. Whether I need to include an interior design into an architect's course, whether I need to include a constructible aspects into my civil engineering course. So we are flexible enough to define this course curriculum. No other institutes needs to do anything. It is our job. We will define it. We will make it ready-made. We will give it to this education institute saying that here is the course curriculum, here is the software. Now make sure that your students get trained on it. And The one aspect, on an ICT aspect, I wanted to emphasize here that in next couple of days' time, we are doing a cluster event in Chennai and in Coimbatore, where we are inviting a couple of ICT affiliated universities or the colleges, where we are doing a closed door event, explaining them how, as a Nemetschek, as a company, is going to help your institutes. So these are the initiatives that we are taking so far. And the last piece is, of course, the students need a certificate. Of course, the students need a kind of a weightage of the certificate which can be enriching his CV or which can help him to get a job. So Nemetschek is also offering a certificate course or giving a joint certification along with the institutes together, so that once they pass out, not only they learn the software, not only they learn the skill set, but they also get certificate programs from ourselves. With that note, I thank you very much for listening to me patiently. If any of your institutes wants to open a center of excellence, my colleague Dipankar will be available here. Thank you very much.